Boom.
Boosh! Yes, what's good, everybody? You know what time it is. Clout Chasers here, wriggling about, rolling about, swaying about like everybody says. They thought it was done. Back in. You know what time it is. Get that badger in and on and over here. He's in, he's on, he's over here. Just want to do a quick shout out to Just Joe. Well, his name's actually Joe, but the podcast is Just Joe Football Show. And I had my debut on there other night after the footy game, after the Plymouth game. We won 4-1. So I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. So shout out to Joe. He was very nice to me. Made me feel very welcomed, it lad. Just got to say as well, I didn't have any of the comments on or whatever because I just thought I'd just go into the room because I've never done all like that before. So it was a bit weird, a bit of a weird situation for me really, which is ridiculous. But it was like, oh, here we go. But my brother rung me and says, oh, you'll have to look at some comments afterwards because the badger, obviously, Joe ended up mentioning the badger and said, oh, does anybody know what this badger's about? I thought, I don't want to be that guy, but unless there's a serious coincidence, I do know what the badger is. And long and behold, I went on comments and there were loads of you like pounding in saying, get that badger in and on and over here and stuff. So, truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, well, I didn't laugh from the bottom of my heart, but I appreciate it. And it really did make me laugh when everybody was saying, oh, get badger in, get the badger in. So the badger's here, and I did bring the badger in, but the screen was only small, so nobody really got to sort of witness the badger. But the badger will win me all the way through. So yeah, I'm off straight into competition with Tucker Carlson here and Vladimir Putin, who are having an interview at 6 out so. But I mean, I'm sure I'll win that competition, to be fair. Follow me on Twitter. Don't know if I've mentioned that. Follow me on Twitter. Quick shit vid. I pipped Chelsea to beat Villa on Just Joe's podcast, and I sort of muffled my words on the way out. But what I meant is I think sometimes it takes, even though Chelsea are in shit form, I think sometimes it takes a little bit of time in one-off games. I remember when Man City were on the rise and they were probably better than Man U, and they just struggled to beat them in like big games. It's like it's a difficult thing, isn't it? Like Arsenal have found it, and Arsenal are actually getting over the line a little bit more now and stuff. It takes some doing. So Villa playing Chelsea in a one-off FA Cup tie when there's a lot riding on it for Chelsea. Don't really matter if Villa lose in the grand scheme of things because how they're getting on in league. That's what I'll try to suggest. And then long and behold, by coincidence, I'm not saying I'm the oracle, they won. So we've got Chelsea in the next round, which I'm buzzing about. I'm going to try to get some away tickets there. Me, our kid and me mate. Get down there. Get that badger down that end. Beat the Chelsea scum. Let's have it. Yes! I'm buzzing we've got Chelsea. A few people saying, that they didn't want a cup run or whatever. This is what it's all about. You can't tell me you're not excited by this Chelsea game. Bournemouth, the little weasels in Bournemouth have apparently triggered the clause to buy Sinisterra apparently they were going to wrap him up for about £20 million. So, and there was some talks that AC Milan were going to swoop in and steal, but that has not proved to be the case by the looks of it. So they have triggered the clause, the loan to buy, whatever the fuck it is, when the option to buy clause. A lot of people talking about Meslier being at fault for the Plymouth goal. I find this interesting. We spoke about on Just Joe's podcast as well, and a few of the guys were saying, there's a lot of these fans need a fall guy, and I'm proper on board with that. I mean, he did look to be a little bit in the middle of nowhere, but I suppose he was up against it regardless. It goes all the way through the box. There's no defender near the first gadget that wins the header. Gets headed back through the box, and there's nobody there for the next guy to just knock it in. So perhaps something to do with Mez, silent S. Obviously, it has something to do with him at some point, you would imagine. But I just think it's slack all round, really poor defending. So I'm not holding that at Meslier, silent S's door. Struggling for tickets for Saturday. I've been past few games. It's been pretty easy to pick them up, but I don't know if something's wrong with websites. It happened to me before. I said it must have sold out, and then somebody commented saying that I'm obviously not trying to get them, and I was trying to get them, but I did go back on and I managed to get them. So I can get it's frustrating because I can get 2 in family stand, but they won't let you go, will they, without a kid? And although my mate's got the brain of a kid, he doesn't look like one, so it's difficult. So if anybody knows anybody that's got 2 tickets sat next to each other or stood next to each other, let your boy know and I'll whip them off your hands. Not that anybody will have at this point, but yeah. Some people are just watching Bamford's podcast with that Joe guy, not just Joe, the other guy, Joe Wilkinson guy, whatever he's called, who's actually quite funny. I think he's all right. I don't think he's particularly funny in general, but I think he's funny on like 8 out of 10 Cats. I think he's funny on that because he plays a character. But when he's his normal self, I don't think he's that witty necessarily. But that's got nothing to do with it. But apparently some people turned up at Bamford's house when he were on way home from Ellen Road, or when he missed that penalty, which is just utter madness, isn't it? But he said he wound window down and they just wound. There were 2 cars sort of blocking his gate, and his missus had rung him saying, you know, it might have been a coincidence, but I doubt that. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, guys. Do hit me up if you follow me on Twitter, because then I know that you're not a warbot. Because I'm getting followed by loads of honeys on there, but I don't think they're real honeys, and that is a crying shame. So check me out on Twitter. Check my tunes out. Loads of music out soon. Gonna put a plan together. Appreciate each and every one of you. Safeness.
The way they've been, the results they've had, 1 defeat in 13. I've got Muppets from Leeds talking about pressures on us, and Bamford and Forshaw and a couple of others, and it's over to you and this, that and the other. They got beat 7 times since Christmas. We've been beaten once. We've set it up from Christmas to be in the race.
Boom.
JackCity, bitch! JackCity, bitch! Hey!
I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna hear your promises. You do you and I'll do me. That's just the way it is. Don't wanna ever feel surprised. That's why I